Hey, Vintage Car Chronicles listeners, welcome to a special deep dive curated just for you all. We're diving into the career of Adrian Newey, the Formula One engineering genius.
You know what makes Newey so fascinating? He's been at the forefront of Formula One design for decades, like consistently innovating and really shaping the sport.
Yeah, it's true. It's like he's not just designing cars, he's writing Formula One history. I mean, his cars have won a staggering 12 Constructors championships and 14 Drivers championships. That's a legacy that speaks for itself.
Oh, absolutely. And what's even more remarkable is his ability to adapt across different eras of the sport. We're talking about a career that spans the raw power of the V10 era to the sophisticated technology of the hybrid era.
Okay, so to really understand Newey's impact, we need to go back to his beginnings. He didn't just stumble into Formula One, did he?
Not at all. No, Newey's foundation is in aeronautical engineering. He graduated from the University of Southampton.
Ah, I see.
So from the start, he had this deep understanding of airflow and aerodynamics.
So he wasn't just building cars, he was almost sculpting the air around them.
Yeah,
And we see this play out early in his career, right?
precisely. His early success in kart, what we know today as IndyCar, really showcased his talent.
Okay.
He designed cars for March that won both the kart title and the legendary Indianapolis 500 in 1985 and 1986.
Wow. Winning an IndyCar is a feat in itself, but I imagine Formula One was a whole different ballgame. What was his transition like?
Well, his first F1 design, the 1988 March 88 one, was a bit of a shock to the establishment.
Really?
Yeah, here was this newcomer producing a car that was genuinely competitive against the dominant McLarens of that era.
Huh. It seems like he had a knack for exceeding expectations right from the start. So from there, he moves on to Leighton House Racing, which, if I remember correctly, was the rebranded March team.
Yes, and this move in 1990 was significant because it gave Newey more control over the car's development as technical director.
Interesting.
The Leighton House CG901 was his creation for that season, and it really demonstrated his growing mastery of aerodynamic design.
So he's already making waves, but then comes the move that really solidifies his place in Formula One history. Joining Williams in 1991, what made the Williams era so special?
His partnership with Patrick Head at Williams was legendary. They created some of the most dominant and technologically advanced cars Formula One had ever seen.
Wow.
The FW14B, introduced in 1992, is a prime example.
The FW14B, the one with active suspension traction control and ABS, wasn't that car way ahead of its time?
Yes, it was. Imagine this was a time when these technologies were practically unheard of in Formula One.
Wow.
Active suspension, for example, could electronically adjust the car's ride height,
Uh-huh.
giving it unparalleled cornering ability and maximizing aerodynamic performance.
It's no wonder they dominated the 1992 season. But they didn't stop there, did they? They followed it up with the FW15C, which, if I remember correctly, was even more dominant.
The FW15C was a masterpiece of refinement. It was lighter, more aerodynamic, and even more technologically advanced. It helped Alain Prost secure his fourth and final Drivers' Championship, with Damon Hill coming in a strong third in the standings.
Those Williams cars were just on another level. But then came 1994, a year marked by both triumph and tragedy.
Indeed. While Williams secured a third consecutive Constructors' title, the season was overshadowed by Ayrton Senna's fatal accident at the San Marino Grand Prix while driving the FW16.
That was a devastating event for the entire sport. And it must have been incredibly difficult for Newey, considering the manslaughter charges he faced, even though he was later acquitted.
It was a deeply traumatic experience for him, and the shadow of that accident lingered for years.
Yeah, I can imagine, despite this tragedy, Newey's genius continued to shine through. The FW17, introduced in 1995, was another strong contender, racking up wins and podiums.
And his final car for Williams, the FW18, helped Damon Hill achieve his championship dream in 1996.
It seems like his time at Williams was a roller coaster of emotions and achievements, but ultimately a golden era for both him and the team.
Without a doubt. By the time he left Williams, his cars had secured 59 race victories, 78 pole positions, and 60 fastest laps in just 114 races.
Wow.
It's a record that speaks volumes about his impact.
So after such a successful period at Williams, what led him to McLaren in 1997?
It was a new challenge, a chance to work with a different team and prove that his success wasn't tied to a specific environment. And as we'll see, he didn't disappoint. Welcome back to our deep dive into the career of Adrian Newey.
Last time we left off with Newey's move to McLaren in 1997, I'm curious, did he make an immediate impact there? like he did at Williams.
Oh, absolutely. His first McLaren design, the MP413, was an instant success. It took Mika Hakkinen to his first Drivers' Championship and secured the Constructors' Championship for McLaren.
That's impressive. It seems like he had a knack for creating winning cars wherever he went. What was it about the MP413 that made it so special?
Well, Newey really pushed the boundaries of aerodynamics with that car.
Okay.
He introduced a novel concept called the narrow track design, which essentially made the car slimmer and more aerodynamically efficient.
So he was finding these clever ways to cheat the wind, so to speak. It must have given them a significant edge on the track.
It did, and he continued to innovate with the MP414 the following year.
Uh-huh.
It was another strong contender, helping Hakkinen secure his second consecutive driver's title.
Those were the years of the intense rivalry with Ferrari, right? With Michael Schumacher at the wheel, those battles were legendary.
Exactly. It was a period of incredible competition, and Newey's designs were instrumental in keeping McLaren in the fight, but it wasn't all smooth sailing during his time at McLaren.
What do you mean?
Well, there was this almost move to Jaguar in 2001 that really shook things up.
I remember hearing about that. Didn't he actually sign a contract with Jaguar?
He did. Jaguar was being managed by Bobby Rahal, who was Newey's old colleague from his kart days.
Right.
They had a strong connection, and Rahal really wanted Newey on board.
So what happened? Why did he stay at McLaren?
Ron Dennis, the head of McLaren, managed to persuade him to stay. It was a huge moment for McLaren as they managed to hold on to their star designer.
It sounds like Newey was highly sought after, a real hot commodity in the Formula One world.
He was, and rightfully so. His track record spoke for itself, but despite the successes and near departures after almost a decade with McLaren, he decided on a new challenge.
And that takes us to his move to Red Bull Racing in 2006.
Yes, and this was a pivotal moment not just for Newey, but for Red Bull as well.
Red Bull was a relatively young team at that point. What was it about them that attracted someone like Newey?
Well, Red Bull had ambition, resources, and a desire to win. They gave Newey the freedom and support he needed to build a team from the ground up.
Wow.
He wasn't just the chief designer, he became the chief technical officer, overseeing the entire technical department.
So he was building a dynasty, not just designing cars, but I imagine it wasn't all champagne and trophies right from the start.
No, it took a few years for Red Bull to truly hit their stride. His first car for them, the RB3, showed promise, but it wasn't consistently at the front.
Then came the RB5 in 2009, the car that really put Red Bull on the map, right?
That's the one. That year was all about the double diffuser, a controversial aerodynamic innovation.
Right.
Newey's RB5 was one of the cars that truly exploited this concept.
I remember the controversy surrounding the double diffuser. Some teams argued that it was illegal, but it ultimately proved to be a game changer.
It was, and the RB5, with Sebastian Vettel at the wheel, won 6 races that season and finished second in the Constructors' Championship.
That was a clear signal that Red Bull, under Newey's guidance, was a force to be reckoned with.
And then came 2010 and the RB6, the car that launched the Red Bull dynasty.
The RB6, the car that started Vettel's reign of dominance, I remember that car being incredibly fast and agile. It seemed like it was in a class of its own.
It was a masterpiece. Newey's understanding of aerodynamics was unparalleled, and RB6 was perfectly balanced, giving Vettel the platform he needed to excel.
And that dominance continued for 4 consecutive years, with Red Bull winning both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships from 2010 to 2013.
Those 4 years were truly remarkable. The RB6, RB7, RB8, and RB9 were all exceptional cars pushing the boundaries of design and performance. The RB7 in particular is considered one of the most dominant cars in Formula One history, winning 12 out of 19 races in 2011.
It was a period of unprecedented success and a testament to the partnership between Newey and Vettel. But then came the hybrid era in 2014, which brought a whole new set of challenges.
The hybrid era was a seismic shift in Formula One.
Right.
The introduction of complex power units and energy recovery systems changed the game. Initially, Mercedes had the upper hand with their powerful and reliable hybrid engines.
So how did Red Bull and Newey adapt to this new era?
It was a difficult transition. Red Bull struggled in those early years of the hybrid era. Their Renault's engines weren't as competitive as the Mercedes power units, which hampered their performance.
But even with those limitations, they still managed to secure some victories, didn't they?
They did. Newey's aerodynamic genius was still evident, and they continued to find ways to extract performance from their cars. In 2016, they switched to Taggy Heuer-branded Renault engines, which brought some improvements.
But it wasn't until their partnership with Honda in 2019 that they truly started to close the gap to Mercedes.
The Honda partnership was a turning point. They finally had a power unit that could rival Mercedes, and with Newey's aerodynamic mastery, they had a winning combination.
And that led to Max Verstappen's championship in 2021, ending Mercedes' 7-year dominance.
The RB19B, the car that took Verstappen to his first title, was another example of Newey's ability to innovate and adapt. They maximized the car's performance despite the complexities of the hybrid regulations.
Then came the 2022 season and another major regulation change with the return of ground effect cars. This must have been right up Newey's alley, considering his early experience with ground effect aerodynamics.
You're absolutely right. The new regulations played to his strengths.
Yeah.
The RB18 was another dominant car, securing Verstappen's second championship and bringing the Constructors' title back to Red Bull for the first time since 2013.
And then they followed it up with a record-breaking RB19 in 2023, winning an astounding 21 out of 22 races.
The RB19 was a testament to Newey's enduring genius. It wasn't just fast, it was consistently fast, reliable, and seemingly untouchable.
It's almost as if he has this sixth sense for anticipating how regulations will impact car design. He seems to be one step ahead of the game.
It's a combination of his experience, his deep understanding of aerodynamics, and his relentless pursuit of perfection. But even legends move on, and in 2024, the Formula One world was shocked by the news of his departure from Red Bull.
It was a huge surprise. What led to his decision to leave a team that had achieved so much success together?
Well, there were rumors of internal politics, dissatisfaction with team management, and perhaps a desire for a new challenge.
Okay.
And that challenge came in the form of Aston Martin.
The Aston Martin move was a major coup for the team. It signaled their ambition to compete at the highest level.
Exactly. And with new regulations set to shake up the sport in 2026, the timing couldn't have been more intriguing. Welcome back to our deep dive into the career of Adrian Newey.
We've covered his incredible journey from those early days in motorsport to his dominant years at Williams and McLaren, and then the dynasty he built at Red Bull.
And now we find ourselves at this fascinating juncture, his move to Aston Martin in 2025.
It's still early days, but this move has sent ripples through the Formula One world.
Aston Martin secured Newey as a shareholder and managing technical partner.
Wow.
That's a pretty significant role, and it clearly demonstrates their commitment to becoming a top-tier team.
They're not just playing around, they're making a serious statement.
Yeah, under the leadership of Lawrence Stroll, Aston Martin has been investing heavily in infrastructure and talent. They've been climbing the ranks steadily, but the arrival of Newey signifies a real step change in their ambitions.
It's like they've acquired the missing piece of the puzzle.
Exactly, and the timing of his arrival coincides perfectly with another major shift in Formula One, the 2026 regulations.
These regulations are a complete overhaul with new engine formulas and aerodynamic rules. It's a clean slate for everyone, and that's got to be exciting for someone like Newey, who thrives on pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely. He's at his best when he can explore new concepts and find innovative solutions that give his cars an edge. These new regulations are a playground for his creativity.
So we're potentially looking at a return to the Newey-dominated era, but this time with Aston Martin in the spotlight.
It's certainly a possibility. He has a knack for adapting to new regulations and finding those loopholes that others miss. Remember, he's done this before time and time again.
It's going to be fascinating to see how he interprets these 2026 regulations and what kind of machine he creates for Aston Martin.
The 2026 season could be a pivotal one in Formula One, and Aston Martin, with Newey leading the charge, is a team to watch very closely.
The potential is there. The ambition is clear. And with Newey's track record, it's hard not to get excited about what they might achieve.
But it's not just about the car. It's about Newey's legacy. His influence extends far beyond the designs themselves. He's inspired countless other engineers and shaped the evolution of Formula One.
He's a pioneer, a trendsetter. His fingerprints are all over the sport.
His move to Aston Martin has injected a new level of intrigue into Formula One. We're all eager to see what innovations he'll unveil and how he'll challenge the established order.
It's like a whole new chapter in the Adrian Newey story is about to unfold, and we have front row seats.
This deep dive has been an amazing journey through Newey's career, from his early successes to this latest chapter with Aston Martin. It's a story of innovation, determination, and an unwavering pursuit of excellence.
And it's a story that continues to captivate the world of motorsport. Newey's legacy is far from over. He's still pushing the boundaries, still innovating, and still shaping the future of Formula One.
It's something we can all appreciate, especially us fans of vintage cars.
Thanks for tuning in to this special deep dive into the world of Adrian Newey. And don't forget to check out our daily show, Vintage Car Chronicles, for your fascinating stories from the history of motorsport.